Hello, and thank you for joining me again. I am Erin Taylor. This is Discipline Part 2. With the first video, we left off saying, how do we control or tame our fear when we're dealing with mistakes that our kids make? How do we keep a straight poker face and not flip out and overreact when they do something wrong or make a mistake? The first thing that we have to do is we have to get to know fear. We have to really take a good hard look at fear, and we have to know how it shows up in our lives. Fear shows up wearing what I like to call different masks. And so it will show up in disguise as something else. Fear itself has a very beneficial purpose in our lives. Fear will tell us not to climb up on our roof and jump down because we could break our leg, we could get injured. Fear keeps us from doing something like that. Fear would stop us from hopefully driving the car 100 miles an hour because we could get killed, we could kill someone else. These are some basic examples of how fear is useful in our lives. Back in the caveman days, we needed fear because we needed to know to react when we turned around, we came around a tree or a set of bushes and found a lion staring at us, or we were walking in the grass and there was a snake in our path. Fear, we're wired to be fearful, and certain times fear is useful in keeping us safe. But in our modern society, there aren't a whole lot of times, there aren't as many times when fear comes up and it's useful. We may be fearful to walk down a dark alley alone at night. That's a useful type of fear when it shows up, and that will keep us from putting ourselves in a situation where we could get potentially hurt. But fear shows up in so many other ways, especially as parents. So our job is to start to really look around, pay attention and notice when fear is on our doorstep and what disguise it's wearing. So for example, our child comes home with a bad grade and we flip out and we start saying, oh, well, it's because you're not studying well enough. Maybe you don't care enough. Maybe you're lazy. And we jump all over our child and we think what we're doing. Fear in that case shows up in the disguise of a parent who cares about their child, who wants the best for their child. And that's where it can get tricky and insidious, because of course we care about our child. Of course we want what's best for our child. But when fear is hiding in that disguise, it's not going to end well. We're going to harp on our kids. We're going to get on them. We're going to make them feel, again, shame, embarrassment, pressure, fear, resentment towards us. All kinds of things that close the door to communication. And that is not what we want to do with our kids. Our child may have trouble paying attention in school. And maybe we get a phone call from the teacher. And then we go down a whole path of, oh my gosh, my child's not paying attention. Maybe he has ADHD. Maybe there's some kind of learning disorder. Oh my gosh, I have to call the doctor. I have to do all this research. I have to do all this stuff. I have to get on him. As soon as he gets home, I'm going to ask him what in the world he was doing at school. And is he sitting in his seat? And is he talking to his neighbors? And is he paying attention to the teacher? Is he raising his hand? Is he blurting out? And then because we're full of fear, we jump all over our kids. We overreact. We have no poker face. And so again, we put all that pressure, we bring all that energy to our child with the best intentions that we want our child to do well. So again, fear is showing up in the disguise of we have the best intentions for our child, which we actually do, but it comes through as pressure, energy, intensity, and then our child feels shame, embarrassment, resentment, sadness, pressure, all of these things. They start to doubt themselves. This is not going to be helpful in the long run. And again, it closes the door to open communication. So what I would encourage you to do in your home and in your life is to start to notice when fear is showing up. And if it's a helpful kind of fear, like I'm afraid of walking down a dark alley, I don't want to do that by myself at night, that's a useful fear. But what will everyone think? Oh my gosh, my child did this. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. This means that he's going to flunk out of his class, and she's going to have to repeat this grade, and then she's going to be behind, and then. Fear launches us into the present, into the future. So when we notice that in this moment, when this thing is happening, suddenly we're thinking about tomorrow and next week and next year and the rest of their lives, and when they're adults, and what will the neighbors think? That's when we know that fear has hijacked us and is now driving our bus. It is taking us where it wants us to go, which will not be helpful for us or our child. So until the next video, I would encourage you to notice when fear is showing up. Start to notice the various sneaky disguises it shows up as, and start to see through those disguises and see fear for what it really, really is. Because once you can get a handle on your fear, it helps you to have a better poker face. It keeps the lines of communication open between you and your child, and you're not heaping a bunch of shame, anger, pressure, and all that kind of stuff onto your child. So until part 3, I hope you have a wonderful day.